You've arrived at Adventures in Dreamland. Soft, surreal, and slightly cheeky sleep stories with awe and wonder. I'm Serene, your guide tonight. Whether you're here for sleepy science, surreal dreamscapes, or stories that shape who you're becoming, I'm grateful you're here. I write these stories to help you drift and grow. Each night, you're welcomed into a dreamy space from across the world. I'd love to know where you are and what makes your space extra cozy. Running a story cabin in the clouds isn't free. The greatest gift you can give to support my work is sharing our adventures with a friend. Now, we return to what we are. Every living organism on this planet, no matter how small or complex, wants the same thing. Every action we take is for this one thing: to avoid pain and obtain bliss. Bliss is a state of endless joy, mixed with peace beyond our knowing. Whether you call it the soul, awareness, or your highest self, that part of you, during deep sleep, temporarily withdraws from the body and the conscious mind and returns to the freedom and unity with the divine. Bliss without awareness. This restores not just the body and mind, but our spirits too, offering a sense of inner peace and clarity. So yes, sleep is sacred. You are returning back to your natural state. Freedom. Your story begins. The River of Plenty is episode 44 and lives inside our Dream Priming playlist, where we plant positive seeds for tomorrow. Tonight's story is about abundance, flow, and the quiet art of letting money find you. You wake up on a riverbank, not with a jolt, more like a slow rising, the way a bubble floats up from the bottom of a glass. Your hands press into warm sand. The air smells like honey and cedar and something older, like gold left out in the sun. You sit up slowly, brushing the sand from your palms. The river in front of you glows, not glitter glows, not fairy tale sparkles, but glows, the way late afternoon light makes everything look like it matters more. The water moves slowly, heavy with warmth, catching the last of a twilight sky that can't decide if it's peach or amber. You blink. Okay, you murmur, glancing around. Either I fell asleep during a guided meditation on cryptocurrency, or my subconscious really wanted a spa day. No brochure, no welcome desk, just the river, humming low, like it knows something you forgot. A small wooden boat rests at the shoreline, hand-carved, simple, just big enough for two. It bobs gently, almost impatiently, like it's been waiting and you're late. You feel it before you think it, the pull, not urgent, not demanding, just an invitation, the kind you know you're supposed to accept
even before you understand why. The river doesn't rush. Neither do you. You step closer, and the sand gives way beneath your feet like it's glad you came. You gonna stand there all evening, or you gonna get in? The voice comes from behind you, warm, unhurried, a little amused. You turn. A man stands ankle deep in the shallows, one hand resting on the boat's edge, barefoot, sun-weathered skin, a loose linen shirt rolled to the elbows. He looks like someone who stopped counting his age a long time ago and never missed it. He smiles, not wide, just enough. "Name's Sable," he says. "Captain, ferryman, river enthusiast, depends on the day." He steps into the boat like it's his living room and gestures for you to follow. You hesitate. He notices. Of course he does. "Ah," he says, reaching into his pocket. He pulls out a single gold coin, old, worn, catching the fading light. "You're one of those." Before you can ask what that means, he flicks the coin into the river. It vanishes beneath the surface. You wait, one breath, two, and then 3 coins float back up, bobbing lazily toward his open palm. He catches them without looking. "Funny thing about this river," he says, turning the coins over in his fingers. "It only stops giving when you stop letting it." He tucks the coins away and tilts his head toward the empty seat across from him. "Come on. You didn't show up here to watch from the shore." You step into the boat. It barely rocks, like it was expecting your exact weight. Sable pushes off with a long wooden oar, and the river receives you, slow, certain, golden. The journey begins. The boat drifts without effort. Sable doesn't row. He just guides. A nudge here, a lean there. The river does the rest. You notice it first in your chest, when you grip the edge of the boat, when your thoughts tighten around some half-buried worry. The current slows, the water thickens, the glow dims just slightly, like a lamp turned down by an unseen hand. But when you exhale, when your shoulders drop and your fingers loosen, the river responds. It quickens, brightens. The boat glides faster, smoother, like it's been waiting for permission. You look at Sable. He's watching the water, but he knows. "The river isn't separate from you," he says. "Never was. It's not even reacting to you. It's more like listening, matching, reflecting what you bring to it." He dips a finger into the current, and light ripples out from the touch. "There's this experiment," he continues. "Scientists shooting particles through a slit. Tiny stuff, quantum. And here's the strange part. When no one watches, the particles act like waves, possibility in motion. But the moment someone observes, they collapse, become fixed, definite." He looks at you now, eyes warm but serious. Same thing here. The river is flowing with potential, but what it delivers to you depends on how you look at it, what you expect, what you let in. The boat rounds a gentle bend, and a large stone rises from the water, smooth, ancient, carved with words that shimmer faintly. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Albert Einstein. You read it twice. Sable chuckles. Smart guy, terrible swimmer, but he understood the river better than most. He leans back, letting the current carry you both. Your mind isn't observing the flow, he says. It is the flow, and the sooner you feel that in your bones, the sooner this river starts bringing you things you didn't even know to ask for. You breathe in. The water brightens. You're starting to understand. The river narrows. The golden light fades to something cooler. Not dark, just muted. The canyon walls rise on either side. Layered stone in rust and ochre, ancient beyond measure, and they're covered in words, carved deep into the rock, scratched, painted, burned. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for every penny. People like us don't get rich. There's never enough. Easy come, easy go, easy go. More money, more problems. You feel them before you read them, that familiar weight in your stomach, the tightness behind your ribs. These aren't just phrases. They're inheritances, passed down at kitchen tables, muttered in traffic, whispered by voices you forgot you were still listening to. Sable lets the boat drift slowly. He doesn't fill the silence. You look at the walls, and something in you aches. Not because the words are cruel, but because they felt true for so long. Because you carried them without knowing. Because part of you still believes one or two, maybe more. Finally, Sable speaks. Which ones did you pack for the trip? You don't answer out loud. You don't have to. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a gold coin, heavier than the others. He holds it up, considering, then flicks it hard at one of the carvings. There's never enough. The coin strikes the stone. A crack splits through the words, not violent, just release. Light pours through the fracture, soft and gold, like dawn leaking into a cellar. Sable watches it spread. These stories, he says, they were never yours. Someone handed them to you before you knew how to say no. But the river doesn't care who carved them. It only cares whether you still believe them. He looks at you. So, do you? The light grows, the cracks spread, and somewhere in your chest, something very old begins to loosen. The canyon opens. The river widens into a stretch of impossible beauty. Trees lining both banks, their branches heavy with golden light. Not leaves, not fruit. Light dripping like honey, pooling in the air, warm and thick and alive. And hanging from the branches, coins, thousands of them, gold, silver, copper, spinning slowly in a breeze you can't feel.
Some are ancient. Some look freshly minted. All of them catching the glow, winking at you like old friends. You lean forward instinctively. Sable clicks his tongue softly. You pause. He gestures toward a low hanging branch just above the water. A cluster of coins dangles within arm's reach. Go ahead, he says. Try to grab one. You reach out, and the branch lifts. Just slightly, just enough. The coins rise out of your grasp like they have their own sense of humor. You frown. Sable laughs, a real one, warm and unbothered. Every time, he says, everyone tries, and every time the tree says the same thing, not like that. He shifts in his seat, leans back, and opens both palms toward the sky, not reaching, not asking, just open, relaxed, like a man expecting rain and not minding if it never comes. A coin drops, then another, then 3 more, falling gently into his hands like they'd been waiting for the invitation. He tosses one to you. You catch it. It's warm, heavier than it looks. You don't chase the river, he says. You don't grab at the branches. You let. That's the whole game. The abundance was never the problem. It was your grip. You look down at the coin in your palm, and this time, instead of reaching, you open your hands. You lean back. You breathe. A coin lands softly in your lap. Then another. A small pile forms, unhurried, unforced, like the most natural thing in the world. A leaf floats past the boat, carrying words written in gold ink. Ask, and it is given. Abraham Hicks. Sable smiles. You're getting it. The forest hums around you. The river flows on, and for the first time in longer than you can remember, you feel it, not as an idea, but as a fact. There is enough. There was always enough. You just had to stop reaching and start receiving. The forest thins. The river slows. Ahead, the water opens into a wide, still lake. So calm, it looks like glass poured flat across the earth. The sky above is soft violet, and the lake holds it perfectly. Every cloud, every star just beginning to blink awake. A mirror so precise you can't tell where the water ends and the heavens begin. Sable lets the boat drift to a stop. This part, he says quietly, most people want to skip. You look at him. He nods toward the water. Go on. Look. You lean over the edge of the boat, and the lake shows you yourself. But not just your face, your state. The reflection ripples with something deeper. You see the tension you woke up with last Tuesday, the slight envy that flickered through you when you saw someone else's success, the morning you checked your bank account and felt your whole body clench
before you even saw the number. It's not judgment. It's just truth. Sable speaks softly. The river can only bring you what matches how you feel. That's not punishment. It's physics. You broadcast a frequency, and the current delivers on that channel. He lets that land. Most people wake up already braced for disappointment. They check their phones, scroll through what everyone else has, and wonder why they feel behind before their feet even hit the floor. And then they say, "The river isn't flowing." He shakes his head. The river's always flowing. But if you're tuned to lack is what floats to your door. You stare at your reflection. It softens slightly, like it's listening too. "So what do I do?" you ask. Sable shrugs. You don't have to fake happiness. You don't have to pretend you're rich when you're not. You just have to soften, even 1%. Find one thing that feels like relief instead of resistance. That's enough to shift the dial. He dips his hand into the lake. The reflection ripples, and when it settles, you look lighter, not different, just less clenched, less braced. "Gratitude isn't magic," he says. "It's just good physics. It changes what you're available for." You breathe out slowly. The reflection breathes with you, and something in your chest unlocks. Just a crack, just enough. The lake feeds into a narrowing channel, and the water begins to move again, faster now. You hear it before you see it, the rush of rapids ahead. Your hands find the edge of the boat. Sable notices, but doesn't reassure you. Not yet. "This part's not about danger," he says. "It's about weight." The current picks up. The boat rocks gently, then more. White water begins to churn around you. Not violent, but alive. Like the river suddenly has somewhere to be. "Everyone carries something into these rapids," Sable says, raising his voice slightly over the sound. "A belief, a fear, an old story about money that's been rotting in the basement of your mind for years." He looks at you directly. The rapids only feel rough when you're holding on to something that wants to leave. You feel it then, not in your mind, but in your body. That thing, that weight. Maybe it's the fear that you'll never have enough. Maybe it's the guilt about wanting more. Maybe it's the belief that people who have money are somehow bad, and so becoming one of them means losing yourself. You don't have to name it out loud. You just have to let it go. Sable nods, like he can see it in your hands. Drop it in the water. The river knows what to do with it. You hesitate, and the boat jolts. The rapids grip harder, and then you release. Not dramatically, just a breath, an unclenching, a quiet "I don't need to carry this anymore." The water smooths instantly. The ride becomes something else, fast, yes, but joyful. The spray hits your face and it feels like laughter. The boat glides over the current like it's dancing, and you realize you're smiling without deciding to. Sable grins. There it is. Something bumps against the side of the boat. You look down. A small wooden chest floats beside you, bobbing patiently. You reach down and lift it, light, warm, humming faintly. You open it. Inside is something you didn't know you needed. It's hard to describe. It looks different to everyone. But you know what it means. Possibility. What's available now that the weight is gone? You close the chest and hold it to your chest. The rapids fade behind you, and the river, generous, endless, carries you forward. Music reaches you before the lights do. A soft melody, something between a lullaby and a celebration, drifting across the water. Then the lanterns appear, hundreds of them, strung between boats and floating stalls, casting the river in warm amber and rose. A marketplace. On the water, boats of all sizes drift lazily through the scene, vendors calling out, not with urgency, but with warmth. One sells glowing jars of honey. Another offers bolts of fabric that shimmer like liquid moonlight. A man with a long silver beard arranges tiny glass animals on a velvet cloth, each one catching the lantern light like it holds a secret. Sable guides your boat into the flow of it. This is the part most people don't believe at first, he says. You look around. What's the catch? No catch. No currency either. Not the kind you're used to. He gestures toward a woman arranging flowers on a nearby boat. You watch as a customer approaches, admires a bouquet with genuine delight, and the woman simply hands it over. No exchange, no negotiation, just appreciation met with offering. Everything here moves on gratitude, Sable explains. You admire something honestly, really feel its value, and it's yours. That's the transaction. Feeling, not imagining. There is a difference. If you don't know what something feels like, you can't bring it to you. You frown. That can't work in the real world. Sable laughs softly. It's the only thing that works in the real world. You just call it different names. Opportunity, luck, being in the right place at the right time. What people don't realize is it's the state of being when it happens. There is a gentle allowance. Simply put, you're in a good mood, not tense. So first feel what the abundance feels like. And later, when you're in a state of allowance, it will flow. He leans closer. Money is just frozen gratitude. Think about it. Someone valued something enough to exchange energy for it. That energy got passed along and passed again until it landed in your hand. The coin isn't the point. The appreciation is. Money follows appreciation like thunder follows lightning. A banner flutters between two stalls. You catch the words stitched into the fabric. What you appreciate appreciates. Lynn Twist. You float past a vendor selling small carved stones, each one etched with a single word. One catches your eye. You don't reach for it. You just notice it, really see it. Feel something warm rise in your chest. The vendor smiles and tosses it to you. You catch it. The word on the stone. Enough. Your third gift. Earned not by effort, but by presence. The marketplace hums around you, alive with exchange, and you finally feel what Sable's been showing you all along. Abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you recognize. The marketplace fades slowly, lanterns dimming, music softening, boats drifting off into gentle mist. The river stretches ahead, wide and quiet. The sky has deepened to indigo. Stars dust the surface of the water like someone spilled a jar of light and didn't bother to clean it up. You notice something strange. You can't see the end. Every time you think the river is about to narrow, to finish, to run dry, it bends. And beyond the bend, more river, more glow, more possibility. Sable watches you notice. This is the part that breaks people, he says. Not because it's hard, but because it's too easy to believe. He reaches into his coat and pulls out a whole handful of gold coins, more than you've seen him hold at once. He looks at them for a moment, then tosses them all into the river. You gasp. He doesn't flinch. The coins sink, disappear. 1 breath, 2, 10, and then the water begins to shimmer. Coins rise to the surface, not 3 to 1 like before, but dozens. They float alongside the boat like a golden current, glinting in the starlight. There's always more coming, Sable says. The river doesn't have a shortage. It never did. The only limit was how much you thought you were allowed to receive. He looks at you now, and his voice drops, not softer, but truer. People think abundance means getting everything they want, but that's not it. Abundance means knowing in your bones that the river doesn't run out, that you can give without losing, that you can receive without guilt, that there's always another bend. A ripple of gold passes beneath the boat. You watch it go. And somewhere in your chest, a belief you didn't know you were holding finally dissolves. There's not enough for me. Gone. Words shimmer on the water's surface, written in starlight. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. You read them, you feel them, and for the first time, you believe them too. The river slows, the stars soften, the air warms, a mist rises from the water, not cold, not eerie, but familiar, like steam from a bath, like the feeling of your pillow after a long day. You realize, slowly, that the shore ahead looks different. It looks like home. Not a place exactly, but a feeling. The edges of your room, the weight of your blanket, the quiet hum of a space that knows you. Sable guides the boat toward the bank. The wood touches sand with a soft hush. He doesn't stand. He just looks at you, the same way
He did when you first arrived. But something's different now. You're different. You don't have to remember everything, he says. You don't have to memorize the physics or the quotes or the fancy coin tricks. He reaches into his coat one last time and pulls out a single gold coin. He presses it into your palm. It's warm, worn, real. Just remember this: the river is always flowing, always full. The only question is whether you're letting it reach you or damming it up with doubt. He folds your fingers over the coin. You're allowed to receive. You always were. You just forgot. The boat begins to fade. The oar, the hull, Sable's smile, warm and unhurried. The water becomes sheets. The golden light becomes the darkness behind your closed eyes. The mist becomes breath, and you're home, not falling asleep, just arriving, back in your bed, back in your body, the coin still warm in your memory, even if your hand is empty. The river hums somewhere beneath the world, still flowing, still full, still yours. You did something tonight. You softened. You released. You floated instead of fought. And now, sleep. Let it carry you the way the river did. There's always more coming. There always was. Good night, dreamer. Sweet dreams.